Hey guys, welcome back to Gardens the Untold Story. Me and Andy are in the back, and we're arguing back and forth. Okay, are we going to do this? Are we going to do this? Anyway, we're doing natural foliar spraying methods today. I'm your host, Ken Somerville. My co-host, Andy Lopez, The Invisible Garden. And this, I think, is chapter 19 in your book. Don't panic, it's organic. You guys can buy it off of Amazon. Go through Andy's website, though, because it gets screwed up. Other people are selling it. But anyway, guys, natural foliar spraying, and Andy's got I think a video or something he wants to bring up so that we
You don't know. I didn't tell you.
Oh, well, I'm not going to bring it up until you tell me to.
I told you it was a surprise.
Okay, well, I'm going to be very surprised.
Okay, so are we up? Is it happening?
Well, we're live. We've been live for a minute, and I've just been yapping because
am I sharing? You can see me, my handsome self up there.
Okay, there you go. I'm sharing it now.
So I've been doing foliar applications right from the very beginning. So I've been doing it like 1,042 years now, something like that.
Yeah,
and
you're old.
Yeah. And so I have on one side, I'm going to show you me at work for this. One of the things that I'm helping you. I'm hoping that what you're going to get from this. See, if you're looking for a job, you can do this for a living. Really, really easy. If you learn the foliar spraying, you don't need a job to do foliar spraying. You can spray foliar spraying your vegetables, foliar spraying your plants. So I'm going to go through the process of why you foliar spray in the first place. By the way, this particular stuff, I don't know how many people remember Michael Whitman. He has his wood vinegar. So the way I met Michael, one of the things that Michael does is he was selling this bamboo vinegar, which is, by the way, is illegal to buy in the United States because it comes from China. Bamboo vinegar. I love it. So the foliar spray is
Blue Sky Biochar is
right. So it's Michael's
channel.
Yeah, Michael has he no longer sells this company because the United States won't let him sell it in the government won't let him sell it in the United States. So he makes his own the wood vinegar. So it's not bamboo vinegar; it's just wood vinegar. I personally am amazed with the bamboo vinegar. So to me, foliar spraying. First, I have to know what it is. Something going on. Do you know what it is, Ken?
Yes, it's when you spray different nutrients or different applications. You can use a foliar sprayer, which means you're basically misting or the plants, the bark, the soil if you want, although that's more of a soil drench than a foliar spray. But you're spraying components and biology, hopefully, onto your plants to help support the plants to get healthy. If they're sick, this is a way to save them. But when you give them the building blocks and the biology, they're going to build more cells and healthy cells, and you're going to have healthy plants.
That's right. You're very good at that. Because for me, when I started my business, people will call me up and say, "This tree is dying. This tree is sick," and so I have a running nose. I have a sinus infection. Maybe not. Anyway, so my first thing to do is, what do I need to do to keep this tree from dying? Yeah. And I learned a long time ago, okay, I'm going to heal the soil. Well, that's going to take some time to work. It's not going to be an overnight thing. You're lucky if in a month you may be starting to get some reaction. A year is too soon. 3 or 4 years. I tell people, how long have you been doing this in your house? How long have you been using the city water? You've been here 20 years, and you want to do something to the soil in a month, it just changes. No. So you're lucky if it doesn't take you another 20 years to get it back to the beautiful, luscious, living, self-sustainable soil. And so in the interim, because it takes a while for the root systems to work, people are constantly trying to say, well, why do I have to do this once? I have a bunch of customers lately. Oh, I didn't see the part that said monthly. I said, yes, you have to do this every month. You got to eat food on a regular basis. You can't just eat once and then say, I'm done, and expect to survive. And so but the root systems are not working. You can put the reason why chemical fertilizers work is because it's a chemical and it gets literally injected into the plant. The plant goes, oh wow, it doesn't have to be working. Whereas
now, I do want to point out to people, guys, Andy's in Malibu. He's working with soils that are absolutely depleted of any organic material. Yeah, it's dirt. So if you're in, say, Oklahoma and you're doing your own garden, you might not have those major problems, but foliar feeding definitely helps everything to progress. And of course, you want to get the biology in the soil because that's the foundation of life, on this planet.
And you have more control over what type of nutrients you're giving, because the whole thing is that there's an interruption in the mineral availability when the system's not working. And that interruption always shows up as a pest or a disease. You can quote me on that. Right? See what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. Well, if you don't have the building blocks to build healthy cells and healthy biology, everything starts to fall apart.
Hang on. There you go. All right. So I just I'll answer this because this is
okay.
I was watching Supergirl the other day, and she was his mother was saying, "What is the single most important thing in your life? You got to concentrate on that. That's everything." And so this is the single most important thing in my life, answering people's questions. So I have to concentrate. No matter what I'm doing, I automatically stop and do it. Cauliflower looks like it got eaten down to the stem. Any chance of recovery? No. That's too bad. But it became food. You did not. So I'm surprised at you. You see, I thought you were can't recover and grow new leaves. Well, yeah, it's going to take a long, long time. And it'd be easier just to start over again. It may put out new shoots. But personally, my point is that what you're feeding it, what the soil is feeding it, is what is missing, what you don't understand, or rather what you're not feeding it. And you're probably not doing foliar application on those plants, because if you were, you wouldn't be having this problem. One of the advantages of doing foliar application is that you can also confuse the plant, the bug who's going after the plant. You see what I mean? So at the same time, you're feeding it because, there's a problem. Basically, if you was to do a refractometer reading on those plants, you would find that they're low. And that should automatically trigger you to say, oh, low refractometer reading means bugs are going to eat it. That is that's Mother Nature saying, go for it and disease it. So you have to say, okay, why is my refractometer saying this? It's lying to me, right? This is not it's called a Brix reading. This is not the Brix reading, but it is. And so that takes
Andy, it's all about those complex sugars or not complex sugars. Yeah. And the bugs go after the non-complex, and that's where you're getting that lower Brix reading.
Exactly right. There's complex sugar and non-complex sugar. I think it's called simple sugar.
Yeah, I think so. It's your simple sugars.
No, it's simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates. You got me all screwed up, buddy. Complex carbohydrates and simple carbohydrates. Yeah, the bugs are genetically bred to eat simple carbohydrates for energy. They go straight through that, and they use it to survive, get stronger, build things, right? Whereas the complex carbohydrates, they cannot process. And the word gives it away, complex. So it's too complex for them to absorb, right, to use.
Yeah.
See? Right? The same thing with humans. When you start having, I want to be able to move my thing. I don't see it. Where do I click on here? Maybe I could do that? No. Oh, God. See, somebody moved on me. I see it. No, I don't.
Guys, Andy only has one monitor, so he doesn't even see himself and me on the side of the screen. So, I just saw your mouse go by.
Now I can't move it. Somehow the screen came off that I was on. I don't know
is
what
your
happened.
mouse
I think.
again.
Wait,
There it
I know
is.
it is. I think you had something to do with it, man.
All
Okay.
right.
Okay. We moved on, right?
Yep.
Okay. So the thing is that it was what's her name? Serena. What is it? It's a long name, huh? Saren. Okay, I got it.
Serena
All right, 49.
Norrell.
What? No, I'm going to
Serena
call her
Norrell.
4960. I'm going to call her 4962. Hi, 4962. I like that. So much easier. Everybody should have a number, right? I could be 1218. I like 1218. Anyway, so
that's your age, Andy. Your mental age is 12. Yeah, and your body's pushing 18 now. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So it's that's the first thing you have to do, because if you was doing it right, they would not attack it and eat it. So it tells me, okay, it's not their fault. You did that. Perfect food for them. They're standing around going, "Oh, look, perfect food." They're going to eat it. so in the long run, you say, okay, something's going on in the soil that's not allowing all the food to go to the. It could also be genetics in terms of where you buy the seeds from, right? If you bought the plant from the nursery, forget it. They usually are very deficient to begin with. The seeds, you get heirloom seeds. Heirloom seeds may not want to grow in that particular environment unless it's 100% organic, or they're kind of geared to what zone in the world they live in, right? So I know a lot of people from Canada who buy stuff from other tropical places and wonder why the seeds are not growing. They won't do it unless you have a greenhouse that you can control the environment. So that's what I would do first. The second thing, one of the advantages of foliar spraying is not only can you spray compost tea, or in my case, worm elixir, but I can also spray some other magical biology that will keep those bugs from coming after my plants. Okay, that's what we use. You use biology against them. So my favorite. Let me see if I can bring some of this up. Right, I don't know who this guy got in the picture. I have no idea. He kind of looks familiar.
Yeah, some crazy guy.
Yeah, some crazy guy. That's me running around with my truck. And I've been, like I said, I've been doing this spraying stuff for a long time. It's really, you can spray anything, the lawn, the roses, the trees. You can use it as a car wash. On the side, you say, I wash your car too. So and this is me running around in the magical forest some people have. I do this to all the trees. One advantage of foliar spraying a giant plant like this is that you spray the whole thing all the way up to the top. You're giving it nutrition all the way up to the top. So what it does is because sometimes, as there's a name for it, if you only spray one part, the rest of it may not get it. There's a name that's supposed to, that means transfers everything to everybody, right?
Yeah.
So the foliar spray, you want it to come in contact. By being in contact also, you can add some things that so just say the Brix level was already really low and you want to stop them. I usually use a filter. And you want to stop them from eating your plants. So there's my friend, and here's the more of these. This one lady has a small amount of cypresses. But and I was looking for, that's my, by the way, I'm known as Invisible Gardener. Here's my invisible fence, my invisible sign. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
That's my invisible sign. You don't see it. So I'm doing some more spraying. One advantage with foliar spraying is you get instant food to them. So when you buy plants or things are in shock, they will react to it instantly. But what I was saying is one of the things that you can, I'm going to talk about my worm farm. We're going to do a bunch of shows more about, because this is what I do for my living. I have a worm farm. They give me worm lychee, and that's one of the things that goes out. That's it right there. And it's one of the things I use. And one of the biologies I use.
Mm-hmm.
See, there I am. And this is what I do. The trees, it reaches up there. By the way, that's pollen. When I spray the trees,
it's pollen that's blowing away there.
Yeah, see it? Isn't that cool? At first, I thought, what the heck is that? But that's pollen.
Okay.
And there it is. I wrote my sign back for you guys. So I was trying to find this. By the way, this is what it takes. I had so hard at work. I just have to rest, take it easy. Yeah. So this is my machine. I've had it for different versions of the machine. Anybody can buy a machine. You have to be careful of the machine you buy if you're going to be using biology. Don't get the steel compressor type that has a compressor that has two metal barrels that produces pressure. You want to get a diaphragm one that produces pressure. That way the microbes and the biology can survive through that. You also want to get your nozzle, have a slightly wider nozzle so they can flow through that. So that's important because if you get, and then the best ones, and they have some really good spray now for making compost tea. They has a little bubbler in there. As you can see, my bubbler it's hanging over there, and that's what you want. This is 100 gallons. Sometimes you could do a 250-gallon version of it, and you're actually taking the biology to the. I use the filters when I go to the customer's place. I already have the liquid I made. I hook up the wholesale filter filled up with my stuff and that stuff, aerate it, and then spray it. And I have some gardens have whiteflies. So when you spray the biology onto any pest or disease, there's an immediate reaction. The biology takes over, right? And then you can hear the disease going, ah, oh, oh. Same thing with ants. I think that's it.
Now, guys, Andy's a commercial operation, so that's one of the reasons he's got the large tanks, the larger sprayer. I have one. It's 25 gallons. It's meant for an ATV. If you've got a small garden, you can buy hand sprayers, pump ones that you pump
have
up
electric pumps too.
Yeah, like my 25-gallon one, I actually built it so that I could pull it behind my garden tractor, and I can create a spray over 6 feet going up and down my lawn, spraying out the fertilizer, and then it's got the wand like you saw Andy using. I don't have as much pressure as you, Andy, but there's all kinds of ways that you can find. You can buy at the dollar store little 1-gallon pump sprayers that you can spray. So there's a lot of variety there that you could use for.
Here's something interesting you could do too. So when I started doing this, I didn't know about sprayers or anything. So I went to a hardware store. I located a really cool brass. It's a little brass unit that you screw on your bit on the hose. Where before you hook up the hose, you scrap, and then you can screw the hose onto that. But it has a little siphon. Thing.
It's the same ones that you can use for washing, putting soap on your car.
Yeah. So you can siphon it right into your biology, whatever you want to put in that liquid, and then it goes out, and because that's what I was doing for a long time, spraying. See, and now you can spray. So before I forget, so the biology you want to spray. There's two main ones that are really, really cool. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of, but these are the top two: cold brew coffee and garlic.
Yeah.
Those two, and don't ever mix the two together because it's just not normal. It's just not right.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I drink coffee with with garlic in it. Some people are kind of crazy,
You don't want to, even just talking about it brings me tears because I did that. And it was the worst thing. I don't know if I should drink it or eat it. Or I don't know what. I never smelled coffee and garlic together. But I tell you, it's very, very powerful because coffee by itself has all the right ingredients. These two things have specific ingredients that are very cool about them, is that they're systemic.
Okay.
So when I was young, maybe my 4 years old when I started my gardening business, I knew they sprayed. They used to sell tobacco
extract.
Yeah, it was a liquid.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, guys, the garlic and coffee can help get rid of the bugs, etc. It gives definite building blocks. Yeah. But normally, when you're doing foliar sprays, you're wanting to just give nutrients. That's where the worm castings and compost extract, stuff like that.
Right. You can do both together at the same time. You can do both at the same time.
Yeah.
So you just have to be careful. And sometimes it's really fun. Like I have customers that have citrus, for example. So And so
Okay.
the way I introduced them to my system, I asked them, well, why would you rather have your citrus tasting like garlic or nicotine or tobacco? No, or cold brew coffee. Because if you like coffee, let's go with the coffee, because it will change the taste of the fruit.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, if you're feeding, straight out of a bottle in a hydroponic system, what you're putting in is the only available molecules for the biology to use to build the cells, which builds the fruit. So you're going to get that. That's where a lot of people, when they were using an abundance of bat guano, they used to get that flavor in what they were consuming. So
yeah,
too much of one thing isn't necessarily a good thing. That's for sure.
So when you're spraying, you just have to understand that the basic principle of it. So like what you had mentioned before, soil soaking. That's a different type of spraying. Basically, you're just dumping as much of this liquid in a certain area slowly enough so it just really soaks the area down there. You don't really want to do. You can do that to wake things up, but it's useless to do it if there's nobody there. So it's always helpful to either add some compost, cover it up with mulch, and then do your soil soaking on a regular basis. You want to your goal is to keep those organisms alive. The longer they stay alive, the more they get established in that little location that you have. Eventually, you have your whole property as a location. You see, you know what I mean. So the spraying is the foliar application is an amazing tool that if you're not using it, it's half the job. Right? You're working twice as hard to get things done, and so you always want to be providing nutrition at the same time that you're doing the pest control work or the disease work. But the diseases are very interesting too, because so people will call me. I got roses, and my roses have a blight, or they have this particular disease or that disease. And so, in organic gardening, they say these are certain things you could use for this type of disease or natural, like sulfur. Sulfur is there's another one called sulfur and copper, which I think is called Bardeau, which basically means sulfur and copper. But these are like on one end of it, because you can use a lot of different things, but they're very same thing you can use. I mean, so if you have the disease, they say use the copper and sulfur, but you can also use milk. Milk will do the same thing as this chemical. It's a chemical, what you look at it, you have to be careful. You kill yourself if you use too much, but they still can use it in the organic system because that's the way the rules are, right? But the milk will do the same thing. The milk has the biology in it already. So if you set the milk up, there are other things just like milk that'll do the very same thing. They're like compost tea works really good for diseases, because if you did a good job in producing your compost, your tea is going to be amazing with a wide range of soil biology, right? Wide range of biology. That's why you often see milk, pictures of milk, whole organic milk, whole, rather than no fat. The fat is what really makes it work. The fat is the same thing in humans. When you take fat, your body absorbs it. Well, the plants absorb the fat, especially for diseases, which are, you want something that sticks around on the surface and that coats the disease itself. Well, that's the fat. And here you have calcium, which is the number one deficiency that plants have, which then starts this chain reaction, because calcium is like the plaster, is like the concrete. You have to. So if you don't have the concrete to build a building, you're not going to be able to get the building done.
Okay. Anyway, Serena's got a question for you. Does garlic repel squash vine borers or squash bugs?
Well, first of all, you want to keep. I told you before, I have to talk more about what you're doing or what you're not doing, because these guys will not come around if you was paying attention to those specific needs. But yes, either the garlic or the cold brew coffee are a very effective tool against them. So you have to learn the strength. You have to learn the variety, because so there are different types of coffees, just like there, and the garlic also can be approached slightly different, because there are many different types of quote garlic from around the world and things garlic like. And so In my garden here, for example, I have sage, I got rosemary. Rosemary alone will do the same thing as garlic does, but again, you have to find the type of natural plant that you like in your food or you like to smell. Because some people don't like the oregano, for example, is too strong, or the rosemary can be too strong. But if you like lavender, but you want to go very, it's because you make a tea out of it and you can spray the plants with it. But you want to see how much you make of it, because if your plant tastes more like this stuff than what your plant is supposed to be, no good. So you want to do just a little bit, go very lightly. That's all you need, because these insects are very tuned to these scents. So you disturb that. And I used to use essential oils, but then people get carried away. It's supposed to be 1 drop in 10 gallons. What part of that do we not get? And that's a very tiny, small amount that you then, even then you still dilute it to water and spray, because you're spraying a small amount on your plants. And what I've learned works really, really well. You don't even have to spray the plants. You spray the area around the plants. They have to get through that to get to the plant. You see?
So Andy, when you're spraying, you're using a large variety of different materials in your mixes, and you're varying those materials. Like you said, don't do the cold brew coffee and the garlic at the same time. Now, I personally, for the lactic acid bacteria, the bacteria that's in the milk that you're using, if you guys have ever done Korean natural farming, you can take a look at how to make a pure extract from the lactic acid bacteria. You can look at doing a calcium out of eggshells and apple cider vinegar to get concentrates. And you can go to the store and you can buy stuff, but a lot of that stuff, like Andy said earlier, is going to be chemical made, where, if you're into this stuff and you want to know what's going in, then you can make a lot of this stuff yourself, and then you don't have to worry about what's in it when you're buying it. And does that mainly in his situation on a commercial level. That's why he's using the worm leachate in his sprays.
I rather use worm juice. Okay, I like worm juice better.
Yeah. So you got a question there, Andy, that you wanted to look at?
Something about planting garlic near. I can't read it now.
So if I plant my squash seeds on the side of the bed a few inches away from the garlic that grows in there, what would the garlic protect against?
First of all, you're doing it wrong. You want to plant the garlic in amongst the squash. So you have the plants, plant garlic right in amongst them. And you have to, and that will repel a wide variety of insects. The ones that normally will attack them, plus some new ones. They will even keep animals and other creatures away, because they'll smell the garlic a mile away. Now remember, your plants will taste the garlic. So if you like the garlic in the squash, that's a perfect mixture.
Yeah,
that's what happens. The plant and the leaves will give off the odor of the garlic, and the garlic is really just sulfur. It goes through the plant, goes back up in the air. They smell that and they go, oh, yeah, right.
Now, I do want to point out this is something that Penny Pebbler here has for us, but I'll never use sulfur again on my smokable ever again, even in veg. And that's right. That's not, for something like that, that can be a soil drench, but never as a foliar. Because, you can get that aftertaste on it. And there's a good point by Nutmeg Sandlapper. Do you all think, with all this talk of fertilizer shortages, it will be an opportunity for regenerative farming to shine, or even Jadam? And yes, I believe the last time there was a major shortage, it brought a lot more awareness to ulterior methods. And you have to consider, when you start running the actual numbers, it is a lot cheaper to use natural farming methodologies, like we talk about on this channel a lot, in farming practices, and save a lot of money. Over the long run, your yields are going to be a lot more nutritious and vibrant. For farming in a major way, I wish everybody would start following and understanding these principles. It's like doing the biochar, spreading out biochar in the fields, not working it up as much. There's so many things that can be done to truly improve and be more cost effective than what's being done now. And when you get life back into the soil, all of a sudden you got healthy plants. That's what Andy and I are talking about. And the foliar spray we're talking about, that's the same thing that the farmers are going out and spraying their land, but they're spraying, chemical fertilizers, they're spraying pesticides and herbicides. We want to see health and vibrant. We want to see things like regenerative and Jadam and Korean natural farming methodologies take over.
So I'm going to throw something out there, which I normally don't tell a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? This is not normal. But so one of the things I have developed the machine for, and I probably should have taken a picture of it, and we'll do a show on it. So people don't know this, but I use magnets. I have these really super powerful magnets. I get it from a local source. Yeah, I use it for various different reasons, but mainly one of the things I use the magnets for is that my machine, the water flows through this hose. This hose has these magnets. It structures the water. It changes the water to structured water. That's why. So if you're using, so I have a filter, but it's coming from the city, which means it's unstructured. That water is not doing anything for the Mother Nature, because it has too many 90-degree bends, so many different things that they take the water. It's not like spring mountain water, right?
Yeah.
So structured water inherently attracts minerals, and it makes it really super easy for the biology, which is also very good at working with structured water, to use the minerals. Makes it readily. That's the reason why it becomes available. So there's a difference between spraying with water. You're making your liquid biology and everything, but you're not using structured water. You're using filtered water. So say, okay, I'm filtering the water. At least it's not city water, right? There's a big difference, and you can find out for yourself. You just buy some magnets, put it around the hose. Do one without the hose, one with the hose, and just treat the rest of the plants the same way, except spray, right? And you're going to see the difference in growth. Eventually, the way I do it is everybody gets it. Everybody gets it. Yeah. I also have it for my water when I drink, because I'm like.
And it's a fantastic way. And I know we've had Dr. Gerald Pollock on talking about the fourth phase of water.
Yeah.
And this is one of the ways that you can help to progress that. You can also, build yourself a fountain where it sprays up and gets sunlight and energizes. That's right. Where the magnetics are energizing things. But I do want to point out that Serena says her Boy Scout troop in her local area, they have their own compost facility where they sell mulch, etc. Check your local area for local suppliers, guys. But I do want to hit on stonemason. Do you think invasive Asian carp would make good fish amino acid? And yes, you're all that the FAA is you're pulling out the molecules out of the cells, making them available in the mix. So it doesn't matter the fish species, other than, if you're going from, rock lobster to, a goldfish, keep away the different shellfish out of your FAAs. But basically, your fish amino acids, you're just pulling out molecules, having the biology, pull them out through, osmotic pressure from the brown sugar. So yeah, the type of fish, if you keep it in the same family, it will work perfectly.
So I want to add a few more things, okay?
Okay.
While it's flowing through my brain and so bouncing around, and I have to say it out to get it out, okay? So I'm going to get it out. Okay, so there are so biology is everything. So there's so many different types of biologies. So I'm going to go over, say 3 right off the top of my head. Flour. And this is when I talk about flour, I'm talking about organic wheat that's supposed to be real wheat that's grown organically, right? That flour, or any version of that flour. I mean, flour is biology loves the flour because this is a.
So you're talking this is a food source you're talking about for the biology. Yeah.
So in the flour form, and I have some videos of it the other day when it rained. I caught the rain and I added some. I have a cup of flour in each of them, and I stir it all up. And I also do my liquids in there. So this is a slightly different mixture. And some have organic rice flour. I have brown rice flour, organic brown.
Okay, you're putting this through your spray system.
Yeah.
Okay, like you're mixing it in your 100-gallon tank with your mixes and you're spraying it out, or you
the liquid itself is dissolved into it. There's nothing solid. The sprayer is meant to handle particles to go through rather than squishing it through, right?
Okay, so this is in your foliar spray as well.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, I do 2 things with it. So when I go to customer's house, I can foliar spray with it, or I can soak it on the ground. I can soak the soil. Personally, I like to do it in stages because you want to be able to. Normally, when I do a person, I say, okay, the first thing you got to do is foliar spray everything. Let's make sure that the patient is getting the food, and so you want the food to be rapidly available, which is not the flour is the one that's rapidly available, so they will get the food right away. But it's not just the flour has a specific biology to it, so I'm adding that biology to my biology, and they function really well. As a matter of fact, it amplifies how much you get 10 to 100 times more out of them than if you did it. So, and each one of these type of biology has a unique. So my liquid has 96. I can say it has 96 trace minerals because I use C90. There's another one that says over 90. So it should be the other. No, excuse me, 90. Because remember, we talked about a long time ago that the other 6 trace minerals are produced by the biology, provided they have all the 90 minerals. So anyway, so the rice is released slower than the wheat, and again you can apply it to the leaves, but the best thing to do is to apply it when you have an environment, the soil. So you have a customer or your own place that's barren, doesn't have anything there, so you want to bring compost and mulch, blend it all together. So that's the first stage of it. That's the time, and mulch it really well. That's the time you really need to be spraying these liquid biology into the soil. Increase the biology. So you want to have a good compost source. So you get the liquid from. You have compost tea, or like I do, I have the worms. I get the worm tea. I add that, whether it be flour. So I thought, why can't you just get flour, rice, and the other one's cornmeal? Put them all together and just blend them together and spray it once. It doesn't work that way. So you have to do one for long term, let it a month or so go. And these are also excellent way to remediate the soil. These pull out toxins from the soil. A lot of places we have fires over here, they can't replace the soil. How do I clean up the soil? Well, increase the biology. And this is what you want. You want a wide range of biology, and you want specific ones, which it comes in the flour, comes in the wheat, it comes in the corn. Those are specific ones that attack certain things. So when they go through this whole process in your soil, they will pick up toxins, mercury, lead, all those things. But it takes time. It's not going to happen in 30 days. It says so because it takes maybe 6 months to a year before you get your biology starting to wake up again. Structures there, maybe because if you don't change the city water, you're constantly
keep killing the biology, right?
That's right. So that's going to take forever and ever and ever if you keep doing the same thing. You may bring the best compost in the world and spray it with city water, and there it goes.
Yeah. Now, so using those three things as a food source, and doing the soil drench with them is what you want to focus on for those mixes and the different foliar sprays. You're going to be using more of your worm juice and compost extracts. But like you mentioned something very specific, Andy, and that was the mulch. If you don't have that mulch on top of your soil,
So
that's creating organic material going into your soil,
yeah,
you've
it's
got
going to bake.
dirt. You have no life. It doesn't matter how much
It's
you
going to
spray.
bake. So one of the things I love about these people, oh, I know everything. I'm going to do it. So I'm going to go buy the best compost in the world. I'm going to put it around the street. They put it right out. They left it right there. And I'm looking. I'm going, ugh. So
I know they're killing it, right?
everything's going to die. The wind's going to come and go.
Yeah.
Nothing there. And I said, you missed the important part. No, everything's fine. I said, I didn't tell you to do that. I said, buy the best compost. Make sure everything's in it you want. Get the best mulch that you can get. Dig the compost into the soil. Turn it over. Get it down there. Stir it all up. Pat it down. Put the mulch on top. And then you just don't do it once. You may have to add mulch on a regular basis and compost and mulch on a regular basis. That's the way Mother Nature does it. Normally she's adding stuff on a regular basis. You have to build it all up because it's going to dry out. The sun over here, 100 degrees in Malibu.
Yeah. So
it's good. And I think everywhere is going to be really super hot. So if you don't want to have problems down below, you have better formularia. An ideal scenario would be very easy, okay? And again, I refer to Lazyman's Guide to Gardening, which basically says keep your water below ground. Run your drip lines below ground. Don't have any sprinkler heads. Don't have any stuff above ground. Keep it all below ground.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like we do have a statement from Serena. She's asking if we have any plans to be on the Urban Gardener. I know I've reached out and he's never gotten back to me, so I don't have any plans in the near future. I would
do it. I would do it if he invited me on. I'm not. I ain't afraid of nothing.
Well, and that's the thing. Like we've reached out to different people to have them come on the show. And if you guys want us on a specific show, you have to reach out to them and say, hey, have you considered having some Ken Somerville on your show or Andy Lopez, so you guys can help us out by, getting your favorite hosts that you watch to reach out to us. But anyway, we've got the three different things. You're doing the soil drench, you're doing your compost, you're doing, the mulch on top. So we've sprayed the plant to keep the plant healthy and alive, while you're starting to recondition your soil. And yeah, it can take, a long time to do that, especially in your circumstance, Andy, in Malibu, where most of it's hard dirt, clay. It's going to take a long time.
I tell you what I'm doing. So this is my second year.
Yeah.
And so I'm putting to practice what I learned. And so you and I like to say more roots in the ground. Okay. Yep. So, and I get this from my next door neighbor. Cut your weeds. You need to pull out your weeds. You want me to help you? The guy comes over with the weed whack. I'm going to help you remove your weeds. I said, I don't see any weeds. Everything growing here wants to grow. Everything's part of this ecosystem. It's holding water. It's alive, right? Rather than it's cutting it all down. So my garden in the back, it's about half of it's what you might call weeds. They came up on their own. They're having a great time. If they start picking on other fellow plants, I say, hey, we all have to be here. Some weeds get to be really big.
Hey, quit beating up the cabbage, man.
Yeah, some weeds get to be really big, and they just said, everybody out of my way. And I'm going, holy cow, man. So I let that weed grow because it has massive roots, goes down into the ground. And then I don't pick it up and throw it away. But the timing is right. I would cut it, chop it all down, and put it back in the ground again. Put it right back in again. That's what you want. And you'd be surprised how fast there's some amazing kind of weeds are coming up. And I look at them and go, they're not weeds. Welcome. Everybody's welcome, welcome, welcome. And you know what? Gophers don't like those guys either.
Yeah.
No, they don't like going through these things, so they go around them. And so and then what happens? Yeah, medicinal plants for the soil. So what I'm slowly doing is converting. So when all the weeds are growing real well, I give it to compost and stuff. So as the soil gets better, the weeds don't like it. You see what I'm saying? The weeds say, "We're done." We're having no problem.
I don't think you do the Jadam practice of having a big barrel of water and stuffing the weeds in so they can go to mush and using that liquid as a fertilizer.
What makes you say that?
Do you do that, Andy? I know there's
I don't
lots of people that do that.
have a big trough. If I had the room, in Florida I did. But so what I do is I have a bucket. Then in that bucket I have a certain amount of this liquid that comes from the worm farm and there's still water. Put it in there. I made throughout the year, it's different time of year I put things. But the cuttings go in there, and it gives me the liquid. The liquid is what I spray the garden with.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to say you can make a tea from all these weeds and spray them.
Yeah.
Shh, don't tell anybody. Okay? And I make a tea from every plant I have. You name the plant. Lemongrass, for example, made a tea the other day. I also soaked myself in it. And I smell the lemongrass, right? Well, the bugs would smell the lemongrass as well. The bugs would go, "We hate lemongrass." The same thing with oregano. All these medicinal herbs, you can make a tea from them and spray them. But the weeds are like dandelions are considered weeds. But I'm growing those things for coffee.
Well, you can eat the roots, you can eat the flowers, you can eat the leaves. I mean, they're so healthy for us, and they're healthy for our soils. Like, it's crazy that people think of them as just weeds because somebody on the TV said, "Oh, they're weeds."
So I found this place that actually sells weeds. It's weed seeds.
Cool.
Because their logic is these things really want to grow here.
Well, the thing is, most of them do grow naturally in
if you want to have you're having a hard time growing, let these guys grow, and they will dig up the soil for you. They will aerate the soil for you. And then if you feed them a little bit, they just take off. Marijuana is basically a weed. It's just nuts. And so, but at the same time, you want to have things that you can eat, so you can slowly use them to roll the till to the garden for you. Use them to bring the worms back. Because I'm getting more and more worms, and the mixtures that I'm using, I rotate through them, and then nowadays when I'm digging in, I'm finding worms in there. Excuse me, sorry. And they're doing it. The worm. What's happening is the birds are now following me behind me. I go, "These are my worms." The birds are like, "They're worms." I go, "Yeah, they're my worms." "No, they are worms." I was like, it's silly having an argument with a bird about the worms, but that's the way. That's what it comes down to. So the bottom line is that the foliar, and also too with foliar spraying, when you use a refractometer, you get an instant. As opposed to putting in the ground. If you're feeding normally through the ground, if you do something normally in the ground, you're really going to have to wait a couple of days to be able. Even then, you may not be sure of the results because unless the plant's totally healthy, and then you don't really need to do a reading with. So it's hard to measure what the effect of putting something in the ground is. Whereas if you spray the leaf with this mixture before. And then the following week, if you spray it too soon, you're actually measuring what you sprayed.
Yeah.
Okay. So I learned that from experience. "Oh, look, this went up." And I go, "Wait a minute, that's what I should spray," because I didn't give it enough time to sort of dissipate and go through the process, right?
Yeah.
But it does stay in the plant, and the plant does absorb it, and so you can use a refractometer on a monthly basis to determine the conditions of your plant and whether your progress is working or not. And
we got a question that's going to give you chuckles there, Andy. Do gophers hate garlic?
No.
So you're not going to get rid of your gophers with garlic, Serena. Sorry.
Oh yeah, they do. They do hate garlic. I'll give you an example. I'll give an example. So I used to know this gopher. He was a nice friend of mine. He had a family, and so I planted garlic and also planted society garlic, which is a little cheaper version of garlic, but it's definitely garlic. You can plant them all over the place as a barrier. And so the gopher ate through the garlic and then went home. The wife would not let him in. You sleep outside today. Don't
You're in
come
the
in here
garage,
smelling-
buddy.
Don't come in here smelling of garlic. Yeah, they can. They take one bite of that and like enter their body. They go, nope. And just they're stupid if they bite it because they'll smell it. They go, okay. Yeah. And so the trick is you make a barrier and you learn. All you have to do is plant a little bit of garlic in an area because they're flying in their airplanes. They go, that area is polluted with garlic. Fly this way, go over here. So they won't find it. So you only need a couple of garlic plants. Society garlic is wonderful. My favorite is elephant garlic. Big giant thing, antennas, they radiate this garlic energy and the plants absorb it. Do not plant elephant garlic under an apple tree or a peach tree or a pear.
We had a guy, Andy, down the road from us, from where we live, okay, that was actually, he had crops of elephant garlic. That's what he grew. And he actually sold it to a camp business for their cooks. And that's what he did for a living, was grow this elephant garlic. But I want to put out that caveman here. Species of weed will tell you what needs corrected. And that's very true. That's why we say that weeds are medicinal plants for our soils. And when those weeds are coming up, we can find out, with a little bit of research, what's in that weed that Mother Nature said is lacking in our soil. That's why she's bringing those weed seeds up.
So I used to give a nature walk in Putney, Vermont. And what I would tell them is, okay, see that weed over there? That weed is, if you look, the way you can do it now, you take your iPhone, take a picture of it, hit the I button, and it'll tell you about the plants. Rich in iron or rich in this. Well, that is what the soil is deficient in.
Yes. Yeah.
Every time. And so it pulls it up, and then when it dies, it brings it up to the
Mother
surface.
Nature has this wonderful system she's set up, and we keep screwing it up, man.
Well, we need weeds in our stomach.
Yeah, well, we need
We'll
the building blocks in our bodies.
Yeah, we need weeds to pull it up and bring it up to the surface, the minerals. So we don't have that. That's why weeds are so good. Personally, I never called plant weeds until you came around and you started talking to me about weeds. No, I've heard it for a long time. Almost right away, people say, "Why do you do what did you pull that weed up?" I'm going, "I don't see any weeds," and they think I'm just driving them on person. More roots in the soil is a key.
And the more roots, the more plants you have, the more sunlight is converted into energy that's going in to support the biology that's in the soil. They're like us, man. They want to turn the lights on too, but they need that energy. So the more plants, whether they're weeds or whether it's a fruit tree or lettuce or whatever you're planting, the more the better. And as long as the soil is covered and you're not allowing it to dry out, and as long as you're not using unfiltered water, if you're in the city, you can have this vibrant life in your soils, which when you eat the plants have all those nutrients that you're putting in going into your body, and all of a sudden what happens to you? Oh yeah, you start getting healthy. Isn't that amazing?
So one of the key things you have that's different when you do foliar applications organically as opposed to the chemical people who do foliar application. The chemical people are using foliar application, which are also actually killing lots of things at the same time, including the soil biology. They don't put their application is to get rid of this disease, and the bystanders and the workers are going to get killed. Whereas in the organic system, your foliar application, the primary thing about it is key to make your biology stronger. See, it will make, so you want your liquid to be something that, and you can tell when you do it, because you look at a plant, you go back the next day, you go, oh, a cow, right? And that's what you want to do. That's what you want to key into it. So from that point of view, there's tons of stuff you could use. You can go through an organic store, just pick things, because all of it's biology. All of it is biology. You just have to decide. So lately I've been spraying milk and turmeric. Milk and a little bit of turmeric in a gallon of water with my liquids. I spray that. The squirrels smell the turmeric. and they leave it
Yeah.
alone.
Cool.
And so
Now,
other creatures leave it alone.
let's hit this maple syrup. What kind? The unsulfured. There's different grades
Yeah.
that you can get. The wife and I prefer, actually, when we make pancakes or anything, we have the grade 3, which has the most minerals in it, still in it. It's not processed. It's
Yeah.
dark. It's rich.
Yeah.
The flavor can, dissuade some people, but if you would use that with your plants, all those minerals that have come up through that maple tree, whose roots are, hundreds of feet deep, or, whatever, and it's getting all those nutrients into that maple syrup. That's the bet. You want to put maple syrup in your teas and things like that. That's a food source for the biology to bloom.
What's so interesting about it is that it bypasses in your body, the brain, the body normally protects itself against certain types of sugar, because you can't be having sugar in your system all the time, so it naturally tries to get rid of it. We have all these forms of sugar, but molasses and honey and maple syrup bypass a complex sugar.
Yeah.
Complex sugar that has trace minerals. Like I'm betting all the trace minerals on the planet are in them, right? They have all the trace minerals right there. And your body will take that and go right straight to your brain, go right straight to your cell walls, your blood system. What's a system that's called a wall that's supposed to keep things from going through, right straight to that. It absorbs it through. And whatever it's in that molasses will also get it. So so what I do is I use I tend to rotate I'm leaning towards the molasses as opposed. I love the honey. I love the certain types of honey. The molasses gives me a much more energetic feel because it's richer in iron, richer in all these kind of things. And so I add things like turmeric. I want the turmeric to get into my body. It doesn't do a good job, but these things just takes it right into your body. Your body goes, ha ha, turmeric. Same thing with I add clove to it. When you do clove is very good for you. Your body cannot absorb it. You have to use something else that helps you absorb it. This mixture right there. And amazing enough, you spray that, you feed your biology that. And it's for your soil. Yeah. So
and that's it. You need the building blocks for the biology to be able to create themselves in order to create cells for your plant, which we consume. Then we get those minerals and vitamins out of that. So it's a win-win situation when we do this and set this up right. And that's where, Andy, you've been doing this for years, setting it up right for people.
2.5 years. That's it. That's about as much as I've been around. 2.5.
Yeah. 2.5 centuries, you said?
No,
millennium?
I just turned 77. So
yeah,
I'm having a midlife crisis right now. I want to stop gardening. I want to become a famous painter.
Oh, I thought you wanted to work in the male film industry, Andy.
Yeah. That's another. I have a couple potentials. So that was another one. I also
brother, I couldn't help myself.
I also want to be a monk in a monastery. I also want to be a famous musician because the music is getting better, really cool. So I just decided I'm going to do all of them.
Hey, man, just do it all.
With the exception of the what thing. I probably won't do that, but because I'm, but I'll think about it. It's a good idea. So, by the way, I'm working on some online workshops. Also, anybody who wants a free copy of Don't Panic, It's Organic ebook version, go up to my website, sign up to get the newsletter. In the newsletter,
you guys can get a copy of Andy's book if you sign up to the newsletter. The same book we're going through right now, and we got a couple of 3 weeks left to go on it as well.
Right, and also too, I have one printed version of this book. I swear I'm going to give it away towards the end, and when we're done, until everybody should be there at the end. And this time, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to send it to you, and you can give it out to the winner. That way you will have it, rather than relying on me because I probably won't do it. So I am going to send you that book. I have your address. I'll get it again. I'll mail it to you. And then down the road, when we're done with this book, you're going to say, okay, we're going to give and I'm going to sign it too. It'll be signed. And you can have a signature of the Invisible Gardener. And you go, I knew him. I knew him.
Well, we'll
Thank
see
you,
where we get it sent to, Andy. But right now, guys, we're at our hour. Don't forget, we're back next week. We got the ladies from Chiropractic is Sexy on tomorrow, and that's dealing with our human bodies, getting our energy flow going, and that's what our plants need, is that energy. And of course, on Sunday, Dr. Paula's on. She's got her 7-week series that she's going on, and I think she may be doing her next show on allergies. So stay tuned. That'll be on Sunday. And then Monday, we have James Perkins, Three-Eyed Tiger, coming back on. He's going to be talking about his, energy work, his garden work, his dome, all of that stuff. It's all about energy, growing plants, bringing that all together with music and positive energy. So you guys are going to want to be there for Monday as well. And other than that, Andy, do you have anything else to say?
And
on that note, guys, we'll see you in a few days.